when your legs stop listening to you. At 6:15 a.m., Frank did what he'd done for the past 40 years. He swung his legs out of bed and placed his feet on the cold wooden floor. But this morning, something was different. His left knee buckled. His body gave in, and in a split second, Frank, former firefighter, proud grandfather of 4, was lying on the floor, stunned and breathless. Not from injury, from fear. That was the first time he realized his body no longer listened to him. This video isn't just about exercises. It's about reclaiming something deeper, your sense of control, your freedom, your identity. Because aging doesn't just happen in your muscles. It happens in your confidence, in the quiet worry that grows louder with every shaky step. But what if I told you that 5 simple movements, backed by science and tested by hundreds of seniors, can help you feel 20 years younger? Not with prescriptions, not with expensive treatments, but with nothing more than your own body, a little space, and a few minutes a day. You don't need to run a marathon. You don't need to join a gym. You just need to show up. A 2024 study followed a group of people between 65 and 85 years old. Some were active, most were not. After 1 year, the group who practiced just 5 exercises regularly at home without equipment reported a 47% improvement in mobility, energy, and daily confidence. Some even started dancing again. Others picked up gardening. A few began hiking for the first time in decades. And Frank, he started with a single wall push-up. It was all he could do that day. 1. Push up. Now he walks his granddaughter to school every morning. No cane, no fear. If you've ever felt nervous walking down your own stairs, if you've held onto furniture just to get to the bathroom in the dark, if you've whispered to yourself, "This isn't the body I remember," you're not alone. That's why in this video, I'm going to walk you through the 5 most effective anti-aging exercises as proven by science, tailored for people just like you. Whether you're 65 or 85, living alone or with family, strong or just getting started, these movements can help you restore the strength, balance, and energy you thought were gone for good. And the best part? No prescriptions needed. Just your decision to begin. So before we dive in, take a deep breath. Feel your feet touch the ground, because by the end of this video, you might just believe what Frank now knows. You're not getting weaker. You've simply been waiting for the right way to get strong again. Let's begin with the first movement that changed everything. Push-up, reclaiming stability through strength. Linda stood in her kitchen, staring at a jar of strawberry jam. It was the same jar she'd made with her own hands just 2 weeks ago. But today, as she gripped the lid with both hands, her wrists trembled. She couldn't open it. Not because the jar was sealed too tight, but because her grip was no longer what it used to be. That moment hurt more than any ache in her shoulder. It's the quiet, everyday things that chip away at your confidence. Opening jars, lifting a pan, pushing a heavy door. And over time, these small struggles turn into something bigger, the fear of losing independence. But there's a movement so simple, so effective, that it can begin to restore the power in your arms, your chest, your shoulders, and most importantly, your sense of control. It's the humble push-up. You might be thinking, push-ups at my age? Let me reassure you. Yes, and not just yes. Essential. Because push-ups don't just build upper body strength. They stabilize your joints, they activate your core, they help you get out of chairs, push grocery carts, and even hold a child without strain. And yes, they can be done without getting on the floor. Let's start with the most beginner-friendly version, the wall push-up. Stand facing a wall, about a foot away. Place your hands on the wall at shoulder height, slightly wider than your shoulders. Now, gently lean forward, bending your elbows, and bring your chest closer to the wall. Then press back. That's 1 rep. Linda began with just 5 wall push-ups every morning. She did them in her slippers, right next to her kitchen counter. Within 2 weeks, her shoulders felt stronger. By week 3, she opened that same jar of jam with a smile. If wall push-ups become easy, the next step is knee push-ups on the floor. Knees down, hands on the ground, forming a straight line from your head to your knees. Lower gently, then push back up. And if you're ready, try the full push-up with your toes on the floor, core engaged, and body aligned from head to heels. But here's the truth. It's not about how many you can do. It's about doing them right, and doing them regularly. A 2024 study found that seniors who performed push-up variations 3 times a week saw a 36% improvement in upper body strength, measured by their ability to lift grocery bags, get up from a chair unassisted, and even catch themselves during a fall. Because when your chest, shoulders, and triceps are strong, you're not just stronger, you're safer. For many seniors, falls start with weakness in the upper body, the inability to catch yourself when you stumble. Push-ups, even from a wall, help train your reflexes and muscle control to protect you from that exact moment. And perhaps most importantly, push-ups give you that quiet satisfaction of strength. Linda now does 10 wall push-ups every morning as the kettle boils. She says it's the most powerful part of her routine, not because of what it does for her arms, but because it reminds her, I'm still strong, I'm still here. No weights, no machines, no gym memberships, no prescriptions needed, just your body, your breath, and the will to push forward. Coming up next, the movement that helped Uncle Ray stand tall again after years of struggling just to get off the couch. Squat, the strength to rise again. Uncle Ray used to be the life of every family gathering. Loud jokes, big hugs, always the first to grab the microphone at karaoke night. But in recent years, something shifted. Ray, now 78, started avoiding birthday parties and Sunday dinners, not because he didn't love his family, but because getting up from the couch had become an ordeal. It took him nearly 20 minutes to rise, knees shaking, arms trembling, pride quietly breaking. I just didn't want anyone to see me like that, he confessed. This is the invisible pain many seniors carry, the quiet humiliation of asking someone to help you stand in your own home. But there's one movement that can gently, naturally, and powerfully change that. The squat. And no, we're not talking about gym-style heavy squats. We're talking about a version designed for people who simply want to stand up with ease again. People like Ray. Squats work the largest and most essential muscle groups in your body. The glutes, the quadriceps, and the hamstrings. These muscles aren't just about walking. They're about getting out of bed, rising from a chair, climbing stairs, catching yourself if you stumble. In short, these muscles are your lifeline to independence. Let's start where Ray started, with a chair squat. Stand in front of a sturdy chair. Place your feet shoulder-width apart. Cross your arms in front of your chest, or extend them straight forward. Slowly bend your knees and hips, as if you're about to sit down, until you lightly touch the chair with your backside. Then press into your heels and stand back up. That's one squat. Simple, controlled, safe. Ray began with 5 chair squats per day. That was all he could do. After 2 weeks, it became 8, then 10. After 2 months, he stood up in the middle of a crowded family dinner with no help and raised his glass with tears in his eyes. That's not exercise. That's transformation. If you're more confident, you can try the traditional squat without the chair. But always listen to your body. Keep your knees in line with your toes. Don't go deeper than your comfort allows. For added challenge, hold a light water bottle or a can of soup close to your chest while squatting. No need for dumbbells, just whatever's in your kitchen cabinet. According to the 2024 study, seniors who practiced squats 3 times per week reported a 42% reduction in fall-related incidents. Not only did their legs become stronger, but their posture, balance, and coordination significantly improved. And here's something even more encouraging. Squats stimulate bone density. That means they don't just help you move better, they help you fight off osteoporosis and preserve the structural integrity of your bones. It's not about building big muscles. It's about building back your ability to move freely, on your own terms. Ray says the moment he stood up, without leaning on the table, felt like being 50 again. So whether you're 65 or 85, squats aren't just about legs. They're about dignity. About reclaiming your place in the room. And once again, feeling strong in your own skin. Up next, the one movement Diane used to overcome her fear of bending over and took her first pain-free breath in years. Crunch, a stronger core, a safer life. Diane hadn't tied her shoelaces in months, not because she forgot how, but because every time she bent down, a sharp pain shot up her spine. Even reaching for a dropped spoon became a calculated risk. One wrong move, and she'd be on the couch for a week with ice packs and heating pads. For Diane, like many older adults, back pain wasn't just discomfort, it was a loss of freedom. And it didn't come from lifting heavy things or dramatic injuries. It came from something simpler, something that creeps in with age, a weak core. But here's the good news. A strong core isn't built in a gym. It starts with gentle movements on your own bed or floor, just like Diane did. The movement that changed her life? The basic crunch. Now, before you picture intense sit-ups or painful twisting motions, let me clarify. This isn't about intensity. It's about intention and rebuilding the muscles that keep you upright, stable, and pain-free. Because your core isn't just your abs. It's a group of muscles around your stomach, back, and sides that support your spine, your posture, and your balance. And when those muscles weaken, your body overcompensates, leading to back pain, wobbly steps, and poor sleep. Here's how Diane began. She lay on her back on a firm bed. Her knees bent, feet flat on the mattress. She placed her hands gently on her thighs, took a deep breath, and as she exhaled, she slowly lifted her head and shoulders just a few inches until her hands slid slightly up toward her knees. Then she lowered back down, controlled and calm. That's one crunch. No strain, no jerky movements, just the beginning of strength. She started with 6 reps. That's all. But it was enough to wake up those sleepy abdominal muscles. Over time, Diane added more reps. She placed a small pillow behind her head for comfort. Some days she just lifted her shoulders. Other days she held at the top for a second longer. And something unexpected happened. She stopped waking up with back pain. She stopped fearing the motion of bending over. She even picked up her cat without bracing for a twinge. A 2024 study on aging and spinal health showed that older adults who practiced modified crunches 3 times a week reported a 30 to 50% reduction in chronic lower back pain. They also reported improved posture, deeper sleep, and more confidence walking on uneven ground. Because when your core is strong, your entire body follows. You breathe better, you walk taller, you move through the world more sure of your footing, and it all starts with a quiet crunch, on your own time, in your own home. Diane now calls it her morning reset. She does 10 crunches every day after brushing her teeth. She says it's her way of reminding her body, you're still capable, you're still mine. So if you've been afraid to bend down, if tying your shoes feels like climbing a mountain, this movement is for you. And coming next, the gentle activity that doesn't just help your heart, it lifts your mood, sharpens your mind, and helps you sleep like a baby. Cardio, the movement that awakens your heart and mind. Harold stood by the front door, hand on the knob, frozen, not because he forgot where he was going, but because the last time he stepped outside alone, his heart raced so fast he thought it might stop. He wasn't running, he wasn't lifting anything. He had simply walked to the mailbox. Since then, every outdoor step felt risky. His chest tightened, his breath shortened, and little by little, his world shrank to 4 walls and a television screen. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Heart palpitations, shortness of breath, foggy thoughts. These aren't always signs of disease. Sometimes they're signs of stagnation. And the solution isn't a pill. It's movement. Gentle, rhythmic, daily movement. It's called cardiovascular activity, or cardio for short. And for seniors like Harold, it's not about speed, it's about flow. Cardio can be as simple as a 10-minute walk around your block, dancing to a favorite song in the kitchen, or gently bouncing on a mini trampoline in your living room. Why is it so powerful? Because movement gets your heart pumping, blood flowing, and lungs expanding. It sends oxygen to your brain, nutrients to your joints, and signals to your nervous system that you are alive, awake, and capable. Harold didn't start with a treadmill or a fitness app. He started by walking around his dining table. 1 lap, then 2, then 5. He played his favorite old jazz tune and let the rhythm guide his steps. Some days he danced, some days he just swayed. But he moved, and that changed everything. According to a study published in 2024, seniors who practiced 30 minutes of light cardio 5 days a week showed a 60% improvement in mood, memory, and sleep quality. They also reported lower blood pressure, reduced cholesterol, and far fewer incidents of dizziness or near falls. And here's something even more beautiful. Their confidence came back. Because cardio doesn't just improve your heart, it improves your hope. Movement tells your body, you are not done. It tells your brain, there is more ahead. It tells your spirit, you still belong in the world. Harold now takes a morning walk around the block, wearing his old fishing hat and waving to neighbors he hadn't spoken to in years. He says he feels 10 years lighter. He no longer panics when the phone rings. He no longer needs a nap after breakfast. And for the first time in months, he sleeps through the night. You don't have to run. You don't have to sweat. You just have to move consistently, joyfully, and with kindness toward yourself. Try walking after breakfast. Try putting on music you love and dancing for 5 minutes. Try bouncing gently on a soft surface to wake up your balance system. No prescriptions needed. Just a little music, a little motion, and the willingness to begin. Next up, the single movement that tells you exactly how independent your body still is and helps you hold on to that independence with every breath. Glute bridge, your body's silent test of independence. Eleanor didn't fall, she slipped slightly, just enough to land awkwardly on the edge of her bed. No bruises, no fractures, but something inside her broke that day. It wasn't her hip, it was her confidence. From that moment on, she started moving differently, slower, cautious. She avoided low chairs, refused to take baths, and every morning she hesitated before swinging her legs out of bed, unsure if she could stand up without help. It's a question many seniors never say aloud, but feel every day. Can I still get up on my own? That question has a surprisingly simple answer. It's called the glute bridge. This gentle exercise may look small, but it's one of the most powerful tests of real-world strength, especially the kind of strength that determines whether you can rise from bed, sit down safely, or walk without collapsing. Why? Because it targets 3 critical areas. Your glutes, which power every step, your core, which stabilizes your trunk, and your lower back, which supports everything else. When those 3 areas work together, you move with strength. When they weaken, you move with fear. Here's how Eleanor began. She lay flat on her back on a yoga mat in her bedroom. She bent her knees, feet flat on the floor, arms resting beside her. She took a breath, and as she exhaled, she gently lifted her hips, just 2 inches off the ground. Then she held, then she lowered, then she did it again. At first she could only do 3, but after 2 weeks she was up to 10. And one morning, without thinking, she sat up and stood on her own. No rail, no hesitation. That wasn't just a glute bridge, that was a breakthrough. For beginners, it's okay to only lift a little. The movement should feel smooth and focused. No arching the back, no jerking. The goal is to squeeze the glutes and lift with intention, not momentum. If you want more challenge later, try lifting one leg while bridging, a single leg glute bridge. But always build the foundation first. A study from 2024 showed that seniors who practiced glute bridges 3 times a week improved their hip flexibility, trunk stability, and ability to stand from sitting by over 40%. Even better, they reported less lower back pain and better circulation in the pelvis and legs. Eleanor now says, I don't measure my strength by how much I can lift, I measure it by how easily I get out of bed. And isn't that what we all want? To get up in the morning and feel ready. No pain, no struggle, just readiness. The glute bridge won't make you look like an athlete, but it might make you feel like yourself again. And that's more than enough. Coming up next, what separates those who regain their independence from those who give up after just 2 weeks, and how consistency, not perfection, became Thomas's greatest medicine. Consistency, the real medicine most people ignore. Thomas didn't believe in exercise, not because he thought it was useless. He knew it helped. He'd seen the documentaries, read the articles, even listened politely to his daughter's endless advice. But in his heart, he thought, what's the point if I can't stick with it? Like many, Thomas had tried before. A stretching class here, a walking plan there. Each attempt fizzled out after a few days. Soreness, fatigue, or just the quiet voice that whispered, "You're too old to change." But what changed everything for Thomas wasn't a new workout. It was a new mindset. He stopped trying to get in shape. Instead, he made a deal with himself. Just 10 minutes, every day, no matter what. Some mornings that meant 5 wall push-ups and 5 chair squats. Other days, it meant walking around his backyard 3 times. If he was tired, he just did glute bridges on his bed. But he never skipped. Not once. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't intense, but it was consistent, and that made all the difference. Because when it comes to aging, when your energy feels like it slips through your fingers, when motivation is fragile, consistency is stronger than effort. It's not about pushing hard, it's about showing up. A 2024 study followed 200 older adults over 12 months. 65% dropped out after 2 weeks, citing fatigue, discouragement, or boredom. But among the remaining 35% who practiced gentle daily exercise, even just 5 to 10 minutes, the results were stunning. Mobility improved by over 50%. Balance-related falls dropped by 62%. And nearly 80% reported feeling more in control of their health. These weren't athletes. They were people like Thomas, former librarians, school teachers, truck drivers, who simply chose to stay in motion. Thomas now wakes up every day and says one sentence out loud. Today I move. He doesn't track reps. He doesn't need gadgets or apps. He trusts his body to tell him what it can handle. And what it can handle now is so much more than before. His knees no longer buckle when climbing stairs. He no longer dreads walking to the mailbox. He's even joined a local gardening group and carries his own tools with pride. So if you've ever said to yourself, I can't commit to big changes, I'm too far gone, what's the point of just a few minutes? Please remember Thomas. He didn't go big, he just didn't quit. And that quiet, steady, loving consistency became the most powerful medicine of all. No side effects, no prescriptions needed. Just you, your breath, and a promise to yourself. Coming up next, the truth no one tells you, why waiting until you're ready might be the most dangerous mistake of all, and how Margaret turned fear into action before it was too late. Don't wait until you can't get up. Margaret didn't mean to wait. She just thought she had more time. She was 66, still driving, still cooking Sunday dinner for her son's family. She had a little knee pain, sure, some stiffness in the morning, but nothing serious. And then, one rainy Tuesday, her best friend Ellen fell in the bathroom. Fractured hip, hospital stay, 3 months of rehab. That night, Margaret couldn't sleep. She kept seeing Ellen's face, bruised, afraid, asking for help, and she kept wondering, what if that had been me? The next morning, Margaret made a decision, not a dramatic one, not a New Year's resolution. She simply whispered, I'm not waiting to fall. That's how it began. 5 minutes. Each morning. Wall push-ups, chair squats. She didn't care if she was slow. She cared that she was showing up. The truth is, many people only begin when it's already too late. They start moving after the fracture. They start strengthening after the fall. They start caring once they've lost the thing they're trying to protect. But the body, like the heart, needs preparation, not rescue. A study from 2024 found that over 70% of seniors who experienced serious falls had warning signs months earlier. Difficulty getting up from chairs, fear of stairs, trouble balancing while dressing. But those signs were often ignored, chalked up to just aging. Margaret saw the signs, and she chose not to wait. 3 months later, she climbed the steps at her grandson's school, unassisted, to watch his piano recital. She stood in the back of the room, recording the moment on her phone. Tears in her eyes, strength in her legs. It wasn't just about avoiding the fall. It was about showing up for the life that would have been harder without that strength. So let's speak honestly. If you've been thinking, I'll start when I have more time, I'll wait until I feel better, I'll move more next month. Ask yourself, what will your body be like by then? What joy might you miss? What moment might pass you by? Don't wait for a scare. Don't wait for a cane. Don't wait until getting up feels like climbing a mountain. Start when you still can. Start because you still can. Margaret now says, every movement I do today is a gift to my future self. She no longer fears the floor. She no longer hesitates before standing, and perhaps most importantly, she feels proud of her body again. You don't have to move fast, you just have to move forward. Coming up next, what this journey is really about. Not six-packs or perfect posture, but something far deeper. The quiet confidence of knowing, I'm still capable, and how Linda found that confidence again, starting with a jar of jam. I'm still capable, and so are you. It started with a jar of jam. Linda had spent her whole life making things with her hands, quilts, birthday cards, fresh preserves. But the day she couldn't open her own jar, she didn't just feel weak. She felt invisible. She didn't tell anyone, not her daughter, not her friends. She just stared at that jar in silence, her hands trembling, her heart sinking. If I can't do this, what's next? But today, Linda opens that same kind of jar every week, without hesitation. Not because she joined a gym, not because she found a miracle cure, but because she moved her body, gently and daily, in ways that slowly brought her back to life. And here's what she told us, standing tall in her garden, sun on her face. It wasn't about getting stronger. It was about getting back to me. That's the heart of this entire journey. Not building muscles for show, not chasing youth for vanity, but restoring the small freedoms that make life worth living. Getting out of bed without fear. Walking down the street without help. Picking up your grandchild without bracing for pain. Breathing deeply without your chest tightening. That's what these 5 exercises offer you. Not perfection, not promises, but power. The quiet, steady power of knowing you are still in control. And no, it's not easy. Some mornings your legs will ache. Some evenings, your back will beg for rest. But every time you show up, even just for 5 minutes, you're telling your body, you're still mine. I'm not giving up on you. Linda now begins every morning with her routine. 10 wall push-ups, 10 squats beside the chair, a few crunches on the bed, a gentle bridge, then a walk to the mailbox where she lets the sun hit her face. She says it's her proof of life. And that phrase stuck with us because you deserve to feel alive. Not just existing, but thriving. Not just getting through the day, but greeting it with strength. So now we want to hear from you. Type in the comments below if you've ever been startled awake by a leg cramp in the middle of the night. Type 2 if you've ever felt nervous just walking across the kitchen alone. Type 3 if you're ready to begin, even if it's just 5 minutes today. Your comment might inspire someone else to take their first step, because this isn't just about one person getting stronger. It's about all of us, together, rewriting what aging looks and feels like. Thank you for spending this time with us. And remember, no prescriptions needed, just your body, your breath, and the belief that you are still capable. This is Senior Health Insights, where every moment you give your body today is a gift for your tomorrow. See you in the next video.